Ever thought about what you'd need to do if your garage door got stuck, closed, or open? Picture this: you're rushing to work, or maybe coming home after a long day, and suddenly you're completely stranded. Well, now you don't have to worry about that nightmare scenario because Garage Door Plus can do a complete inspection on your garage door for just $29. They'll thoroughly examine all moving parts, check the wear on the mechanical components, test springs, cable, and opener system of your garage door to keep you worry free throughout the entire year. It's preventive maintenance that can save you hundreds of dollars and major headaches down the road. This actually happened to my wife, and it literally left her stranded. She couldn't get out because the garage door was completely stuck. We called up Garage Doors Plus, and they were there in no time to take care of the problem. The technician was professional, efficient, and got us back up and running quickly. Now I have my shop and personal home garage doors inspected every year. It's the best investment I make for my peace of mind. If you want fast, dependable, reliable service, including emergency garage door service, call Garage Doors Plus at 612-760-7551 or find them online at GarageDoorsPlusLLC.com.
From working in his family's Chinese restaurant, to bartending, to becoming present-day owner of Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, my father's true superpower is human connection. Now, he's on a mission to capture the most fascinating stories that make up the Minnesota community. You're listening to the Twin City Tales podcast.
Thomas Rodriguez, owner and operator of Garage Doors Plus. Also a good friend of mine that I have to go to therapy with when the Vikings lose and talk him down from the ledge. He invites me to a Vikings games as he has season tickets. Thomas, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
This is going to be great. So what was it like growing up in Chicago?
Well, I grew up in a small town of about 75,000, a town called Waukegan, Illinois.
Never heard of it.
Which is basically the middle between Milwaukee and Chicago. And so 30 miles north of Chicago, 30 miles south of Milwaukee. So I had the best of both worlds when it came to, sports and the Bears, the White Sox, Cubs, Brewers, and Green Bay. So a lot of memories there. Yeah, I grew up there for 38 years of my life. Got 5 brothers, and it was hell raising with my parents, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, man, it was good.
And you
Life
brothers
was good.
And you brothers had a band too.
Yeah. As we speak, my brother Gabe is still managing partner with Local H, but back in the early 90s when we had long hair and we could grow long hair, we had a band called Good and Plenty. And is after the Candy, but we did a lot of covers. We had a couple original songs, but that was fun. It was a lot of fun to open up for some bigger bands now that are still playing to this day, and had a lot of fun doing it.
So Good and Plenty, kind of like the Groupies too, I bet.
Oh yeah, yeah. We had it was good times. I would say for about 5 to 6 years, we went out and played venues from just suburbs of Chicago, Milwaukee. But then in that whole music scene, it was a hot time with music back then.
So, in Minneapolis too. It was a pretty big scene there.
Yeah. So kind of got that grunge thing going that we were in, but we played a lot of the hardcore thrash metal that I still listen to this day, but I am very open to a lot of different music now. Mostly Christian music.
Okay.
So
you jump into a mosh pit too?
I've stage dove many times. And yes. But the weird thing about when we were out there playing in that band is I kind of had stage fright. So I was kind of always sitting back, just playing the music and just getting into the well, all the rest of the guys were all over the place on the stage, but mosh pit, stage diving, you name it, we did it, and it was fun.
But you played the bass. So typically most bass players are just like, I'm just here for a paycheck.
um, I love music. I grew up listening to bands like Led Zeppelin was a big band that I truly believe is the best band of all time. But the Beatles, I grew up listening to the Beatles, Jethro Tull, and even bands like the Bee Gees. So I have an array of music that I love to listen to. So music's in my heart, it's in my soul, and to this day, I still try to get on that bass and practice whenever I can, which is very rare when I'm trying to run a successful business at this point.
That balance, right? And that might be I know you're into a lot of different things, especially your golf and bowling. How do you balance running a business with and staying connected to the things you love, right? Like music.
It's tough, that life work balance. I've had bouts where it was pretty difficult. But what I do rely on, first and foremost, is my faith. And all the people that I surround myself in the company, and there is a core of people in my business that I trust that they can do their job while I do the other things that I need to do as a business owner. And I try to be as open and honest with them, and they're the same way with me. So I put my trust in God, and I put my trust in Samantha Peluso, who still works and contracts for us, doing social media and stuff like that. Jamie, Gabe, and all these guys that, they know the business. So I try not to micromanage as much as possible, which is very difficult, but I got an eye, I got the eye on the ball with the business, and I also like to also try to help out outside of the business with nonprofits.
Yeah,
And,
I know you were big with was it Meals on Wheels for a while there?
Meals on Wheels. I was introduced to them from DJ and Laura Finucci, and kind of hit home when I had a similar situation with my dad, and what it means to actually go out and deliver food or prepare the food, knowing that it's going to people that maybe never see a family member or are in contact with people in general. So, and you got to have that connection, and that's critical for a lot of these older folks and maybe challenged individuals. And I got to meet them face to face, and it just the joy that I see of having conversations with them, just you can't put a price on that.
There's something special with that. I've driven for Meals on Wheels of Anoka too, and there's something special about you bringing them, and they're just so excited to see you because, like, you might be the only contact they have of people.
Exactly.
Some of them don't have family at all. Some of them have, like, like maybe a kid who lives out in Florida, and they just touch base with them every so often. They don't want to be a pain in their side, right? So they get you in their house, and you almost have to go. The other food's getting cold. I gotta get going. You spend about 10-15 minutes there, but you can sense there's loneliness there, and
they do a pretty good job of site checking with folks that, even going out there with these people that don't have connections with their family. You just don't know what's wrong with them. So it's almost like a health check, outside of just giving them that meal for the day. Because you just never know with the elderly. And my dad, he's up there in age, and so I can relate to that, and forms of dementia and stuff like that. I'm familiar with all that stuff, so that's what we're here to do. Help and serve at any way we can to better the lives of people that maybe don't have much. So
it's almost like you get back more than you give, and it feels really good, and knowing you're doing the right things inside. And that's what we have to, at the end of the day, we can't take it with us, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've never heard of anybody say, hey, put that money in my casket with me. I'm going there and I'll spend it where I'm going.
Brings me to a person that I owe a lot to from my networking experience, Ben Olson.
Oh, yeah.
He
Ben.
introduced me to BNI when we first started our chapter in Blaine, and it's about givers gain, you
Yeah.
know, and it's even said through Bible scripture or just being a good person altogether. You know, it's better to give than it is to receive, and that's comes around 100%.
Oh, for sure, for sure. No, that's a great attitude to have. Um, you know, and you're very family orientated. I know that with your brothers, you're really tight with your brothers. Is it about your family that kind of influenced your entrepreneurial spirit?
Well, to be honest, excuse me, growing up with the five brothers, we all played ball. We all did, we all went bowling and bowling leagues and stuff like that. And so we had that competition, but the love of family and stuff like that. But at an early age of 13, we had a tragic situation with my mom, and she passed away unexpectedly. That kind of shifted life in a basically a downward spiral for most of my brothers and my father. But what I thought was a tragic situation, which it was, I come to realize many years later that even out of those tragic situations, blessings were there. And being at a young age, I wasn't fit to understand what those were. So I ended up moving to California, and I have family out there. And my father always said, learn a trade. You know, all my brothers had jobs growing up, so they kind of set the tone. But my grandparents, I mean, they were in their 70s, if not 80s, still out there doing work, with that work ethic, and that's kind of what was instilled in me at a young age, and it never left. So that being said, in 2010, I actually started a business down in Atlanta. And it was a small business where I was just subcontracting. And so I got my first taste of being an entrepreneur for it was about 3 years. And then moving up to Minnesota and starting the business was because my job took me here from Atlanta. And my business partner at the time, Dave Ballinger, we both agreed that we can do a better service for our community if we started our own business. And in 2013, I quit my job. Dave kept going because it was a conflict of interest for him to quit and start. So we started it together September 1st of 2013, and I've never looked back.
Was the business down in Atlanta also garage doors?
It was, but it was more commercial and specializing in Sam's Club and Walmart remodels. So it was kind of easy for me because it was all subcontracted out. So it was all set up for me to just buy the equipment, go out, and I didn't have to do any selling. I didn't have to do any of all I had to do was just talk to the contractors, and that was great. But then when that was a seasonal job, that's when I said I have to work. That's that work ethic, and so I ended up going online and finding a company that I thought was a trustworthy company online, and started working for another company in Atlanta. And then I found out that in Minnesota they have a hub here, so I moved from Atlanta to up here in I think it was about 2011 and 2012. And yeah, that's when the change, and I started to see the bigger companies out there and what we could offer locally. So in the regards of being that company that is an honest company, and we thrive to support and with the community and everything, well, that's what we wanted to do.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know you were saying more commercial back then,
Yeah.
and then now you do more residential, probably more than anything else. You still do
We are
commercial.
a lot of residential because I guess just for me, it was easier to walk into somebody's garage and talk to them one on one and have that person to person, eye to eye talk and just be, totally transparent with them. Whereas commercial is a different animal altogether. But as we have grown to the now, we're, 2025, we're actually reaching out to a lot of commercial now. So,
In my industry, in the HVAC and electrical world, I speak more from the HVAC side, but I used to do a lot of commercial refrigeration, put in like walk-in boxes. The thing that I really enjoy over commercial, and there's nothing wrong with commercial, it just feels like as a commercial guy, when you're doing commercial stuff, you're kind of just a ticket writer, right? Like there's really no building a relationship there. And for me, the residential side, I love the challenge and even just connecting with people, building on that relationship side of stuff, being more socially active, right, with the customer. You're
Yeah.
not just a ticket writer at that time. You're not
Right.
just the order taker. You're actually, hey, here's the benefits that you get. Yes, you pay a little bit more for this, but these are the benefits you get from it. You're getting value in residential
yeah.
as opposed to in commercial. A lot of times they're just looking at what's the cheapest you can do it for and what's your warranty, and that's it. It's very
Yeah.
transactional.
Yeah. That's true. And the old saying that, our company goes above and beyond is an understatement for our residential and our commercial, our sales commercial guys. They go above and beyond as well from other companies. But yeah, I mean, I walk into a garage as if it was my own parents' garage, including yours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did our garage door.
I feel bad when somebody calls me up and says, "Hey, I got an accident. I just ran into my door," and I get it.
Now, why would you bring that up on my show? Especially being an Asian driver. Now you're really perpetuating the Asian driver scenario.
Hey, it's job security, my friend. Job
That's a
security.
good point. That's a good point.
The funny thing is about that is you're not the only one in that week that I got a call. It was about 4 or 5 calls that week, and we just didn't understand why. There was something. I think it was a full moon or something that was going on, but we really did not understand. But there was literally 4 or 5 calls that said my son ran into him, my husband, I ran into it, or whatever. And the thing about our company too that I'd like to add is we do all the extras, the framework. When somebody hits the door, they actually hit the wall, and we can go in and we can do all that kind of work too. So it's not just, that's where the plus comes in. And if I can't do it, we have contractors that we refer out to, and that's where givers gain again. We're not just the one-stop shop for your garage door and opener, and that's where the plus comes in. And I firmly believe that not too many companies can do that. And it's, again, back to my networking days with BNI, the chambers and stuff like that. I've grown and gotten into so many relationships out there that I know people, including HVAC guys,
Yeah.
that I can refer business to. And when I do that, I feel good that I've did a service for them.
And I think that's how we met, actually, through a BNI back in 2015 or
At
so,
the
2016.
Coon Rapids Ice Arena.
Yes, and it was interesting because I think you were going at that time. You still had a business partnership. I was just completing mine, and we were able to actually commiserate or even celebrate some of our little victories and wins as a small business owner and being local.
And I appreciate all those times going to Blackhawk games. We're on the way. It's all business, and we're talking, and we could share a lot of back and forth things, whether it was business or personal or even politics or whatever we are. And then at the end of the day, we're still maintaining a good friendship that's hopefully lasts long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, in a world of so much like, I want to use the word more like polar opposites, and you and I don't see eye to eye on everything. Sometimes even in business, we've kind of had that discussion on how we run business, some little bit of politics here and there. But then the day, I feel like the biggest key to actually what we need in this world a little bit more is to sit down and have the conversation, right? And maybe even walk away and go, I can agree to disagree with you, but I respect what you have to say because I can see your point, but I don't agree with it, but I can see your point.
I remember a specific conversation I had with you going to a Blackhawks game. Of course, the Blackhawks never win when I go with you, too. But that's beside the point. But I told you some personal things going on, and you were saying, Thomas, that's not the way to go, and here's why. And at first, my first instinct is say, who are you? And I'm like, wait a minute. He's Wyman Wong. You can't go wrong with Wyman Wong. So I just listen, and you have a lot of experience with a lot of stuff, and I definitely appreciate all your insight. And I can, piggyback off of stuff that you went through, and I can relate that to my situations in my small business, and it actually works out. So take what works and leave the rest, and that's where I think, you and I can get along and, be the example of, I wouldn't say we're too far apart when it comes to stuff, but at the end of the day, we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl.
That's right.
That's about it.
That's right. And in all reality, how boring would life be if you and I were always like, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, you're the best.
Yeah.
Or, it's boring. We have to have little
Dialogue.
things that we can think about and go, okay, does this really work for all of us? And one size doesn't fit all in life, right? And
even our businesses are, even though we're in the trades, it's kind of different.
Yeah.
There's differences, but at the same time, there's a lot of likenesses too that we can relate to. And I love what you have to offer and your thoughts and any feedback that I get from you, because I know that you're really good with your team, and if your team's working, then I must take a look at what you're doing because it might work for me. And I have taken some things, and I've left some things out, and life's a bad teacher sometimes. I just school of hard knocks. But at the end of the day, we just have that one day at a time kind of thing, and things will work out if we put our faith where it needs to go.
Yeah, I appreciate that sentiment, and I appreciate who you are in everything that we do. It's really about our journey together. So, walk me through for the listeners out there. We kind of walk that same path, but as a business owner, you're beginning early days. So walk me through those early days. What were your biggest challenges that you faced getting started after your being up here? I know in Atlanta, you kind of had it not worked out, but you had certain things that were already in place. But going into the residential market, getting your business partner, and what were your biggest challenges you faced getting started in that time frame?
Because I had the business before, it was called Getz Construction. That stood for God, Ellen, Thomas, and I had a dog, Skittles. So Getz Construction, it fit. Setting me up to really not have any fear or face everything and what's the acronym for fear? Face everything and recover, or whatever that is. Not run. Just
run from it.
Yeah, I'm not running from it.
You can't run from fear.
I came up here knowing in 1980 when I was suffering through some hardships with the Vikings that I really wanted to come up here and make a life, and it actually came to fruition in 2013, where my half brother, his dad lives up here in Blaine, so that's how I got here, and because I'm a Vikings fan. So, but as we're going through, starting a business and everything, it was just a 2-man operation with my ex-wife Ellen, basically holding the fort down between two big egos in the office, So that was a rough period a little bit. Not in the beginning, but as time goes on, as partners, you really gotta think about the other guy. But our the way we wanted to run the business kind of changed. He wanted the 2-man operation where I saw something really special coming along with Garage Doors Plus, and so I ended up buying them out in 2019 when the governor of Minnesota decided to shut it down on, I think it was a Friday morning or a Friday night or something. And I'll never forget this, but we shook hands, we signed the paperwork, we walked out of Northeast Bank, Stacy Buchanan locked the door, and that's when I started sweating bullets. It was probably the most scariest time in the business, where what's going to happen here? Everybody was like, everything's shutting down. And so I sweated for about 2 weeks. The phone wasn't ringing, and we didn't know what was going on. And then it came apparent to us that we were essential. And so that worked out, and I just had faith that things were going to start working out. And they did, but then we started having these other issues with product. I'm sure you probably went through the same thing, where product was taking an extensive, long time to get. So that was a big hardship. And to this day, now we are looking at tariffs. And tariffs are really hitting the garage door parts from Mexico. And we're getting bombarded with emails with 6% increases, 10% increases. And that's kind of where the garage door companies have to deal with, because now we have to raise prices. But it's where we're at. So
Right.
We can get through it. We've always found a way, and I have faith that it's not going to hurt the business, and we can rock on.
And that was through the pandemic that you're talking about, and then now we're dealing with
Now we're dealing
issues.
with the tariff issues,
Yeah.
and it's just like this, things happen, and now we have to become Marines. We have to adapt, overcome, and achieve, whatever it is that we're going through. Then these are all, we can look at it as a bad thing, or we can look at it as a blessing. And knowing me and my past, I've always looked at things in the negative, and working with you, talking business and stuff like that, you have to be positive. So I got positive influences, and I surround myself with those people. Sammy's a good one, Stacy's a good one, you're a good one, to just bounce ideas off, because you're a phone call away. So I have that support system through local businesses too. So
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that the negativity really can kill you quickly. And it's like, yes, you have to have optimism, but it's got to be realistic optimism to a certain extent. Yeah, and we all go through the struggles. People don't always see it. And it's hard because if you have team members with you like you do, you have to put on that facade, because if you showed up every day and go, oh my gosh, the world's going to fall on us, you know how quick they leave on you so fast?
I have a team that has been dealing with me for like the past 3 years, because it's been up and down, but they know me. They know that this too shall pass.
Yeah, yep.
And I give them credit for hanging in there, and they're all in. I've asked them numerous times over the few years, are you guys in? Yep, we're in. We're not going anywhere. My fear is eventually things change, and that's another thing. Change is like the number one hard thing to go through. So we're going through a change, and that's through pricing, and but there's a lot of good things too. So, including the pricing.
Yeah.
We can get through it, and
the one thing that I've taken away from sports a long time ago, a great coach once told me, he said, all good hitters can just hit. That's not a problem. Usually good hitters can hit. The great ones learn how to adjust and readjust when needed. And that's what it takes to be great as a business owner. I feel like you can always stay stagnant. You can always go up and down and stay middle of the road. But how do you adjust? And I'm not talking about income. I'm talking about making your team great, right? And having that trust built in your team. You have to be able to adjust so your team members can show that we adjust and learn quickly. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have an open mind to all of my team members, even to the, if you want to say, the lowest guy, the totem pole that, started at the earliest or the latest. But, if you have a better way of doing something, let us know. We'll implement it if need be, and so that's an open door.
Yeah.
We're a small business, but we are looking to grow, and add to the team. And we just actually added a couple more technicians, and we're going to add an HR lady or an HR person, I should say, because we are growing. And I see other businesses and I see what they do, but it's like, that's not where I'm at. This is where I'm at. So let's stay in our zone and we can grow little at a time, baby steps.
And there's a lot of challenges out there, like you were saying before, with the pricing challenges and knowing that that's coming up. The one thing that not only did the pandemic affect us, the tariffs, these big PE groups are making nice offers to these smaller companies. What happens in the industry, do you feel, when the few large players control more of the market?
Well, there's been times where I've thought about selling a company, and then those private equity companies come up and stuff, and I get the calls all the time. I'm sure you get the same calls. Hey, we're looking to buy or whatever. But what happens mostly is, they come in, they buy a business, and they have the capabilities of dropping their pricing, and they flood the zone, they flood the market. There's more garage door companies in Minneapolis per capita than any other place in the country. So we know who these big players are, big equity companies that come in and do that. And eventually, even the mid-sized to small businesses will fold because they can't compete with these people that have millions of dollars. So at the end of the day, it's just keeping the eye on the ball, what people are doing, knowing that we're competitive and that we offer a better service.
And they do disguise themselves really well, because I know a lot of our listeners out there want to buy local. They want to buy people that they know that are in the community. But I believe PE groups have their place in this economy. But what they'll do is they'll buy out Garage Doors Plus or Joey Bag of Donuts Heating and Air, but they won't say, hey, this is no longer locally owned. We still have the owner on staff. He might be in an equity rollover situation where he owns 5 to 10% and he's getting some residual for the next 5 years. But the PE groups have to actually say, like, hey, this is still a family owned operation with the original owner in it.
Right.
And it's disguised as that.
It's semantics and technicalities that are just part of the business.
And it's what the perception that the population has, right? Like, I want to buy local. So yes, we are local. But if you go buy from other places, it doesn't matter because it's still part of our equity group that the investors
I
are
go
in.
back to a lot of, teachings and of networking, keeping it small, building your network of people that you refer business to, and they refer because they trust you, and that's what has really gotten us through a lot of the lean times too. But at the end of the day, it's your name, and are you a trustworthy business? We tend to be, and if we have issues, we try to take care of our clients as much as we can,
And I think that's a big part of it, right? And I don't think it's like anything else. I don't think private equity groups go in to go, I want to hurt the economy or I want to hurt people.
They're just doing business.
They're just doing business, and it becomes very transactional, kind of like what we talked about with commercial, right? Like it's a transactional thing at that point, and not a relationship building.
This is not personal. This is business.
Right.
And I have to be that way with mine too, because we are running a business, but we still have that, that local, feeling, and we're there to help and serve, It's not about how much we can get from them. It's how much can we give to you guys, and give back to nonprofits that, I actually was talking to a nonprofit today, and it was because I went to a golf outing, and that golf outing, they were there, and I needed their help. It just so happens that the bracelet was on my wrist, and I was, where can I go? Where can I go? And I'm like, wait a minute, it's right there. So it was like meant to be, because I have outside friends that are needing some help, and any way I can help is what we're here for.
Yeah, and as
Giving back.
Yeah, giving back. The nonprofits, a lot of them are starting to need it more and more since 10, 15 years ago when, and I don't want to get too political, but yes, I do believe that we have to be more fiscally conservative, but I still believe that there are people that need our support as a society, right? I mean, and yes, is there going to be people that take advantage of that situation? Probably, but I think it helps more people than
not. Yeah.
But with the way the landscape's going, they are pulling money from one of the biggest things in my heart is people that can't advocate for themselves, right? Hammer Services will help those people that have, autism and they're low functioning, Down syndrome where they can't advocate for themselves. And those people need it more than ever.
Are they taking money away, or is there situations politically where they're not being funded anymore?
Yeah, they're cutting funds to them, and I get it. You know what I mean? But then also going back to private equity, right? Like those spaces are now getting also entered into investment groups.
Sure.
And the funny thing about that is your loved one who might have those disabilities are in those homes, and these private equity groups that are saying, okay, home cooked meal is going to cost us $4 per person. If we throw a can of SpaghettiOs at them, nutritional value is there. They'll survive on that. It's $1 a can. Let's go with $1 a can of SpaghettiOs, right? And that's what I feel like is kind of hurting some of those nonprofits, And again, private equity is not a bad thing completely. I think there's certain things that are needed. Like if a company has developed for a long time and the ownership is a single proprietor that doesn't have a relative to give it to, or a son that wants it and they're not sure what to do with it, or he's fallen really ill, and how do they, maybe a private equity group does swallow it up because it's needed. On the other hand, I don't believe that it creates the legacy, and it does kill some of the entrepreneurial spirit of us in the United States.
Yeah. And my thoughts have changed over the years. It's never about me. It's about Garage Doors Plus. And I have that same situation where I'm getting in some stages of my life where, hey, nothing lasts forever. What am I going to do? It's not about my legacy. It's about the Garage Doors Plus core values.
Yeah.
And those core values need to stay with this company, whether, I had a big, bright idea to sell it to the employees. Well, I got to look into that, we'll see what happens, but I would definitely sell it to the employees before I sell it to a private equity company.
Yeah. No, some good stuff here, some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
I think our listeners are probably understanding what our views on private equity is and what our views on just running a business with pricing going up. So with that, I think we're going to go to a break.
Sure.
All right. We'll be back. Anoka Meals on Wheels, a nonprofit organization that I proudly support, delivers more than just nutritious meals to seniors in our community. They deliver connection, care, and peace of mind. Their volunteers don't just drop off food. They check in, share a smile, and ensure our neighbors know they're not forgotten. I know because I am one of those volunteer drivers. Help us keep serving those who need it most. Visit mowanoka.org to volunteer, donate, or learn more about Anoka Meals on Wheels. Nourishing bodies and spirits, one meal at a time. Tired of lugging heavy bags of water softener salt from the store? Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric now delivers premium water softener salt right to your home in returnable, reusable 20-pound containers to go green and light enough to save you from injury. Serving the north suburbs, we're your neighbors who know how hard our water is. No more running out of salt and dealing with spotty dishes and stiff laundry. Quality salt, reliable delivery, local service you can trust. Because at Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, we don't just keep your home comfortable, we keep your water soft and your life easy. Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric, now with water softener salt delivery. Call today or visit us online. All right, Thomas, it has been such great conversation so far to this point. And this is the part where we get into our little surprise photo reveal.
Uh-oh.
Your brother sent us some pictures, and it'll be fun. The first one for you audiences out there is Thomas.
Oh, boy.
How old were you then playing that bass guitar? And are
Well,
you in the red? It's a picture of three guys.
No, I'm not in the red.
You're the one in the white facing.
I'm the guy on the right. I got the court bass, just kind of a cheap bass. That was my first bass ever. But that was right around 20, 21, 22 years old.
Okay.
And my brother, the one that's walking in the back there, he was even more shy than me. So for him to even sing was a feat in its own, because he was very shy. But me, I was always drawn to the bass. Steve Harris with Iron Maiden, John Paul Jones with Led Zeppelin, just to name a few. But I just wanted to be that bass player that, but life, and I just never made it, to be that rock star that I thought I could be. But it was fun.
You bass players are always so laid back too. Whenever you see like the bass players, like I think John Entwistle.
Yeah, I was
for the
gonna
Who,
say, yeah.
he just sat back and and who was the bass player for the Stones? Like that's who I think of.
I can't remember his name, but
Yeah. God, why can't I think of his name?
either way, but Geddy Lee.
Geddy
from
Lee
Rush.
was
Oh, these
Although,
guys.
He got some solos in.
Yeah,
on that bass.
Yeah, he's these guys are very complicated in theory, and that's the thing. I never read music. I always done things by ear, and a lot of musicians do it that way. And I was self-taught. I took a
Nice.
few lessons, but at the end of the day, it's like I just want to get that bass, and I just want to play it, and we made it happen. It was fun times, good and plenty. Opened up for some really big punk / thrash, 7 seconds, and these small little venues that could fit 250 people, and it was just packed. And then after good and plenty, I actually got into another band called Masada,
Okay.
and that lasted for about 2 or 3 months. That was very hardcore thrash, and we actually signed a deal, but if I recall, the deal was null and voided by the company that we signed with, so we never did put out an album. But I kind of got in there a little bit after the old bass player, they split ways and everything, but it was very interesting crowds and people, and but it was fun. It was always about fun. It wasn't never about the money.
Well,
So
I from what I heard, the Dire Straits line, play that guitar on the MTV,
yeah,
money for nothing and your chicks for free.
Yeah.
Can't beat that.
I do recall one bad moment where we went to Battle of the Bands and we lost, but the crowd was so loud that everybody knew that it was fixed. So the band that won, and they got, or I don't know if they got a recording or whatever, they got money or something, but you could tell it was a fixed deal. We had the whole crowd, the whole bar was rooting for us, and we lost. It was like unbelievable.
Was it like Spinal Tap, like you're under the stage and you can't find your way up the stage to the Cleveland Stadium?
Yeah, it was bad. We just didn't have the hair and the get up, they were called posers. We went out there and we just played our music,
Yeah.
So
No.
fun times.
That's awesome. That is really awesome. So the next one is
Oh,
this one's been a while, but it was a few years back, and this is a picture of you and I at a Vikings game on Jared
boy.
Allen Day. What were we thinking?
I don't know, but I think we must have didn't take a shower or something because there's nobody in the crowd. The game was over. No, I'm just kidding. No, this was good times. I couldn't believe we were getting the Jared Allen mullet.
We
deals.
got there early to get it, I think, because
And mine
it was limited.
backwards. They did mine backwards.
Yes, and you were able to get
another one.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
pretty good about that.
Yeah.
So that was a fun day.
Oh yeah.
Can't
Did they
remember.
win?
I was just trying to think. I think we
Who
were
did they
playing-
play?
I remember. I think they played Murray's team, the Cardinals.
That could be.
I think we went
That
to the
could be.
Cardinals game. And they
That
were
could be.
playing. Yeah,
And we've gone to a
we've
lot
gone
of
to a
games.
few games.
Yeah.
Thanks to you having
Yeah.
the season tickets.
You
That's
know
always
what?
nice.
It's fun to go with Wyman. It is. Win or lose, I've I want to see him win a Super Bowl, but at the end of the day, it's a game. It's business. It's it's entertainment.
And it's hard because, God, if we could do our business the same way, sell hopes and dreams, because that's what they do. They sell hopes and dreams,
yeah.
and they're just like, and people live and die by it. All I know
Yeah.
is like, I remember when I was younger, I was a bigger Dolphins fan,
Oh, yeah.
only because the Vikings lost to them and they went on to win the Super Bowl, and when they won the Super Bowl against them, and
Who was Bob Greasy? Was that their?
yeah, Bob
Okay,
Greasy,
okay.
Larry Zonka,
Larry Zonka.
the killer
Yeah.
bees for the defense. And you know, it's really sad. I hate to say it, Thomas. The guy behind the scenes there, his actual name is Daniel Marino Wong.
Is that right?
Yes,
But
I named him.
I'm a big Dan Marino fan.
I named
really
him
am.
after, and he's had such a quick release. And I thought for sure after his rookie year, and they took to the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
they were going to win some. They
Yeah.
never went back. That's how.
Yeah.
That's how hard it is.
It's
you
very
know?
difficult. It's a man's game. It's a bunch of that's why I like my Vikings. It's a bunch of grown men out there, big boys, and I love watching my Vikings. Win or lose,
Yeah. And I was so emotionally bought in, and I think my ex, Dan's mom, I'm watching the Miami game. I still remember it. And I'm yelling at the TV, and I'm just going nuts, right? Then all of a sudden she says down to the basement, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And then I had that epiphany, like, yeah, what is wrong with me for crying out loud? Until these guys go, we're going to win one for Wyman. I don't need to get this emotionally wrapped up in this thing. And
It's tough.
I think
though.
that was
It's
it.
tough.
It is.
You gotta
Hopes
love
and
for-
dreams. You
Yeah.
buy into the hopes and dreams.
Every year.
Don't you wish they did that with your business? Like, yeah, your garage door might work, it might not, but hey, you got a lot of hopes and dreams on your garage door opening up. That's what you're paying for. That's what we're doing with the Vikings. So yeah, that was a fantastic picture. I really love that. This is you a little bit older, and
Yeah.
you're with
That's my mom's mother.
your mom's mother, and here I feel like you went to go visit her.
Yep.
Little story about that,
Yeah. So
and your brother Gabe, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy. I went out to live with my grandparents.
In California.
In California, and of course it didn't work out. So from high school, it would be like I'd go out there, and I've always communicated with my grandmother because she was the closest to family with my mom. But I got out and I met all my family out there in California, and it almost seemed like it was like almost every 7 years somehow I would find myself way to go out there. But in the last 15 years, I like to bowl. So the Nationals is out in Vegas or in Reno or wherever on the West Coast that I would go and visit. And over the years, my grandmother, she had dementia. So she passed away a few years ago. But yeah, and I'll never forget the day that we went out there back before my mom passed. And I looked at my brother Mickey and I said, "How did mom get here before us?" When we pulled up and to visit them, and it was my grandmother. She looked exactly like my mom. So there was a close relationship there, and I've always known that, I always want to have that relationship with my grandparents and my uncles and aunts out there and my cousins. I got so many out there, but it's kind of hard to get out there now. But I kind of went out there every 2 years, and I just made it a point that family is important.
That's awesome that
Yep.
you're really such a
And that's my
family
brother
guy.
Gabe, the one I gave you that picture.
Yeah.
Of me.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I'm the only one with hair now. All my brothers either shave it or it's gone. So
They're embracing the receding hairline.
yeah, yeah.
Unlike
So-
you, you're just like, I'm rolling with it with a hat on.
Yeah.
All right. And then the last one is you at about no teeth.
Wow.
Like you were a hockey player. You were like 8, 9 years old at the time.
I can't even believe that picture. I gotta look at it because I don't. I kind of do remember this picture. And my brother David, the one in the back, he passed away at the age of 50. And then, of course, that's my brother Gabe. I got to remember where this was. But, yeah, look at me. It's like
You just got done playing a game of hockey.
who's the football guy from Pittsburgh? Is that Lambert or something?
Oh, yeah, Jack Lambert
Jeff
or
Lang-
Ham.
yeah, that's me right there.
Or you
But
got...
I got a smile on my face.
You did. I was like, that was pretty awesome.
All I wanted for Christmas was my 2 front teeth.
That's right.
But yeah,
So if you can go back in time and say, hey, little dude, you don't know me that well, but here's what I got advice for you. What would that advice be? If you could go back and tell that you...
that's a really good question. If keep the faith, and don't let anything slow you down on your dreams. You know, and it actually did happen. You know, it just happened at a different time in my life. You know that going through the turmoil and the traumatic experience through life that got me to where I'm at today. And I've, we all slip, we all have our downfalls and stuff like that, but keep the faith is what you need to do, and God will be there to protect you and always, and that's pretty much it.
That's the thing I love about this podcast. You have an incredible story, what you went through, and everybody that I've had some sort of, whether it be trauma or challenges.
Yep.
It's who we are, and we keep pushing through things. And I think that's what you're saying. Push through, keep the faith going. It doesn't always seem like it's the right thing that's happening to you. Why is God doing this to me, or why is the universe doing this to me?
Right.
But you got to keep pushing through. I think that's really good advice for our listeners out there.
And when things are tough, you just have to dig deep down. Nothing lasts forever. It'll change. We just got to have the faith. And it's worked so far.
And another question that I have at the end of these podcasts is, how has your journey helped you build meaningful connections with others?
I never thought that I would own a business, run a successful business as it is. Kind of lost my train of thought there for a second, but what's the question again? I started thinking one thing and I'm going over here. This is my problem.
I have that ADD too.
Yeah.
So how has your journey helped you build meaningful connections with others? I mean, one of the great ones is like our journey. I can tell you my answer right now. My journey in business brought me to you, and I've learned a lot from that. Just your challenges and my challenges, even though I don't agree with you, it's always good to have that open connection.
It just never ceases to amaze me what God throws in my daily life to bring people into my life, situations whether it's business for me to do work for them or refer business to them. I'm a firm believer that nothing happens by mistake. You know what I mean? It's not coincidences or anything like that. So my journey continues, and I try to keep an open mind to it. And I mean, never thought I'd be where I'm at today.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely grateful for it. And I have to keep plugging along. to help others achieve their goals and dreams too. And I did it with Sam. I honestly believe that I hopefully had a big part or a small part into where she's at today, and allowing her to do what she wanted to do for her life and her dreams. So
Kind of fun to have heard her podcast
Oh,
drop
yeah.
too. So that was kind of fun.
yeah, it was a good one. Yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. What's someone you'd love to see or hear on this podcast, and why?
There's many people that I can send over to you, but one in particular, because we are kind of cut from the same cloth, would be Zach Molchinski. He's the owner for One Nation Construction. We have a personal relationship and a business relationship, but he has a testimony that would blow your mind. And he's a successful entrepreneur himself, and we actually used to meet on I think it was Wednesdays, and then it got turned to Thursdays for a Bible meeting during the middle of the day, which that was kind of crazy that I could even think that I could do that. But it's part of my makeup and what I do, and I firmly believe that we are like-minded. So we were not only there to support each other's business, but we're also there to be there, spiritually, And
Nice.
so, but Zach and his wife and his team over there, they run a good ship over there, and proud to know that we're friends, and I've bounced ideas off of him too.
Nice,
So-
nice. Well, you heard that, Zach. Zach, we're coming after you next. So it'll be fun. I know Zach really well, and now we've had some interactions, and he's just a great human being,
is.
actually, from talking to him. And as we wrap up here, I do have some parting gifts for you. And you get to keep the mug,
Oh,
Twin
sweet.
City Tales mug.
Price is right.
And that's right. That's right. And just
Holy
for being
smokes,
on
what
the
do we got
show,
here?
it's a little trophy, not quite the Super Bowl
It's the
trophy
thumbs
that the
up.
Vikings are. Yes.
All right.
And I really appreciate you being on the show. And I know how much a music fan you are.
All right.
So, not a
Uh-oh.
Vikings shirt, but I got
Oh,
you
boy.
one of the original Led Zeppelin from, I think, the 70s.
1973?
I think it is.
Oh,
it
or
is.
75.
Is it 75?
75?
Yeah, their album
75.
cover. I remember seeing that. So, and their
Holy
tour.
smokes.
Yeah. Kind of awesome.
I actually had one Zeppelin shirt, I think, once in my lifetime, but hey, are they coming around?
I don't know. I
don't know if I can afford like $250 a ticket.
I
but,
know.
I can just see them on YouTube now.
But if it's the last time they come around, it'd be kind of fun to see.
Oh, it
Because the
would be.
original band, the members are still there, right?
Everybody but John Bottom.
Yeah.
He passed
John
away
Bonham.
in 1980.
Yeah. That was
So-
it. Which is pretty incredible because, every other band pretty much are, God, I think the only one, Rolling Stones, but even them,
Yeah.
they had their drummers gone. So, yeah. So,
Well, I definitely enjoyed the podcast. I appreciate you having me on, and anything I can do to help out and moving on, I'll be here.
no, perfect. And I honestly can't thank you enough again for being on the show here, Thomas. And if you want to learn more about Thomas and his company, you can go to GarageDoorsPlusLLC.com. That again is GarageDoorsPlusLLC.com, or visit our Twin City Tales Facebook page and we will post it there. And as we roll out of here, I want to thank again Chris Hockey for the use of his song Thanks. It really weaves into our story. I am truly thankful for everybody, my family, and the people that have been on the podcast. And until the next show, I'm sorry, this podcast is powered by Twin City Heating, Air, and Electric. Until the next show, we can't go wrong with Wyman Long on the Twin City Tales podcast.
This song goes out to my family, to all the ones who died before me. I'm sure the family life made you do things you never wanted to, so I wrote this song to say thank you. sun